What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another car review. This is of course the 2018 Audi SQ5. Huge thanks to Audi for providing me with this very nice SQ5 to review for you guys today. Also, huge thanks to the Automotive Video Association for arranging this car and 11 other awesome cars and SUVs for the first ever Automotive Video Awards, which brings 6 of the best car reviewers in video and myself together to decide which is the best performance car and performance SUV of the year. So about the all-new SQ5 here, it's on the new platform now, and I think it looks really cool. They did a good job of making it look sporty and aggressive, but not over the top, you know, in typical Audi fashion. It's fairly understated as well, although you do have these large 21-inch wheels, but it looks really great with this stance too. In the dynamic mode here, it has this air suspension that lowers itself down a little bit to give it an even better stance. The only complaint I really have about the looks of the SQ5 is out back there. It has in the rear bumper some cutouts that look like it's an exhaust system, but it actually isn't. They're just like dummy units there, and the actual exhaust is behind the bumper and just normal mufflers there. So you know, it would be cool if those were the actual exhaust in the rear bumper there, but otherwise it does look very good. I love these new Audi turn signals as well that kind of have a sequential look to them, the way they illuminate, and overall it's just a really sharp looking vehicle. Right, for the interior of the Audi SQ5, well, it's very nice in typical Audi fashion. But anyway, first things first, sitting down in these seats, very nice seats. Obviously they look beautiful here with the quilted leather, and I like the embossed S logo as well there on the seat back. But they're pretty comfortable seats, a little bit on the firmer side, and they do have lumbar support and things like that to help with adjustability, but they are not super customizable as far as, you know, bolstering can't be changed or anything like that. But you know, the bolstering is still very good. I mean, again, this being the SQ5 model, it is certainly sportier than a standard, you know, Q5, and they feel really good. I mean, even for a slim guy like myself here, you know, they're fairly snug and, you know, really hold you in nicely in corners, and overall they're just great seats. Next to the steering wheel in the SQ5, which is another very beautiful thing to look at and a great thing to use. Really nice 9-3 grip. I love the flat bottom and the materials, you know, all the metal trim. You do have some plastic buttons here, but they also feel pretty nice, and nice smaller wheel as well. I really like the way that it looks and feels. I like the gray stitching you have along here. The only complaint I have about the steering wheel is that the paddles are plastic, and you know, you would think that they would do some kind of metal or some kind of nicer material here on the SQ5 to make it a little bit higher performance feeling, you know, than just plastic paddles that seem a little bit more of an afterthought. But otherwise, I mean, they're nicely placed out of the way here, so you still can get a really nice firm 9-3 grip without the paddles getting in the way, but they aren't too far out of the way to, you know, you can easily reach them still, and overall, you know, nicely placed and still a really great wheel to use. Gauges in the SQ5 are probably one of my favorite parts about it. It has the awesome Audi virtual cockpit, which is all digital gauges here, and they look really sweet too. I love how they've utilized the screen real estate here. You know, obviously you can have a fairly traditional layout with the tachometer front and center there, very sporty looking in all modes, not just in the dynamic mode, but in all the modes. It looks great. Then you have your other additional information you can customize on both the left and the right. And of course, if you do happen to be navigating somewhere or just like looking at the map, this has the Google Earth satellite imagery that you can have overlaid here, and you can even make it smaller so that the gauges kind of fall to the corners and get minimized. Then you have a nice large satellite image of, you know, where you're driving, which is super cool. And yeah, they're just awesome gauges. Lots of information, and you know, everything is nicely laid out, like the little boost gauge in the bottom right, and everything is just really cool looking in these gauges. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, you have a very nice widescreen display up top here. It's controlled by the MMI controller. I do wish that they had integrated to a touchscreen and MMI setup, you know, to have the option of one or the other, because this is close enough. You can easily touch it, but yeah, unfortunately it doesn't do anything. But it is nice. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, although it is a little strange using a wheel to navigate what is usually a touchscreen interface with your phone. But otherwise, you know, it's just nice to have the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration there. Otherwise, all the other stuff is easy to navigate, you know, as far as radio and all those types of things. It still takes a little bit of learning, you know, if you aren't familiar with the MMI system, in order to scroll through, and it does take a little more work than a touchscreen setup, I still think. You know, like for example, just in CarPlay, you know, going from skipping a music track back to your map view takes like 6 spins of the wheel here instead of just, 2 taps on the screen if you had a touchscreen. Minor things like that, but it's not a huge deal, and after a while you get used to it. And overall, still really nice setup. Coming down to the climate controls, very nice setup here. I love, the little screen that you have, but very minimalistic, but, just really sharp looking. I love the knurled aluminum knobs you have here and other metallic buttons that feel great. You also have your heated seat controls and all the basics there. And then coming down a little bit more, you have your drive select switch there for the different driving modes and a few other buttons there. And so overall, really nicely laid out, and everything is just so nicely finished here. And it just really looks great. Coming down to the shifter area here, you first have this little touchpad that also has the handwriting functionality, so you can, write things in with your finger there, and it'll get inputted in for navigation or whatever it is you want to command through the MMI here. You also have menu and back buttons there. You have the nice MMI controller, which is, again, more of these very nice knurled metal finishes and just has a great resistance and click to it that's really satisfying. Nice other metal buttons here for some shortcuts to the different menu items. And then you have the shifter itself, which is really nice for resting your hand on. Just a really cool shape. And just does the job well there. And I like that it's nice and short, so it's out of the way, it doesn't stick up too much. And then you have a little volume knob here over to the right hand side. As far as storage space in the SQ5, it's really great. First thing in the doors here, you have a nice large pocket, which has a bottle holder as well, which is always great to have. Coming over to the center, you have this smaller sized little cubby that would fit maybe a smaller smartphone, not any of the bigger ones though, but nice to have that nonetheless. And then you have another little slot here where you can put your key or something like that. And then you have this very clever other center area here where you can fit a larger smartphone or something like that, or you can slide it back, and that's where you'll find your 2 cup holders, which is a cool little way to hide those away. And then you have the center armrest, which is this very nice feeling leather that's also nice and softly padded, so great for resting your elbow on. And you lift that up, and then you have a fairly shallow center console, but a good amount of space, fairly wide opening there. You also have 2 USB jacks and an auxiliary jack in there as well, and so very nice to have those. Backseat space in the SQ5 is pretty good, for, again, one of these mid-size SUVs in this segment. It's really quite good. I'm 5'9", sitting behind myself. I still easily have about 4 or 5 inches of legroom to spare. Plenty of headroom as well, and especially if you want to lean a little bit inwards, you have that panoramic roof there that, gives you even more headroom, and it's really great. You have fold-down center armrest there, and up in the front part of the back seat there, you also have 2 air vents, as well as a little way to control your own climate and a power outlet in there as well. And so overall, it's a really nice back seat. Trunk space in the SQ5 is pretty good. It's fairly deep. It's a pretty good sized space there. I wouldn't consider it massive, but again, right in line with all the other competition for the most part in this segment. It's a power liftgate, of course, as well. But as you can see, it fits a suitcase very easily, and you still have a few inches behind it, so you can even fit larger suitcases, and several of them, of course. And so overall, a very usable hatch. All right, so start up and go for a drive. The SQ5 here has a very nice S key that's metal, has a really great weight to it, even has metal buttons here on the back, and just a really nice key. So anyway, you just leave that in your pocket because, of course, it's keyless entry and push button start. So you just hit the engine start button, and it starts right up. Alright, so setting off in the 2018 Audi SQ5. Well, it's a very nice thing to just cruise around in. Now, depending on whatever driving mode you're in, it'll custom tailor the ride of the suspension, with this air suspension, to be as stiff or as soft as you would like. I've already put about 50 miles on this vehicle so far, and even in the auto and the comfort modes, it is really quite remarkably smooth and comfortable and very good for daily driving. And in dynamic mode here, so far, it's not even that much stiffer. It's stiffer, it feels sportier, but it's not uncomfortable by any means. Visibility is also very good with a large windshield you can easily see out of. View out of the sides is great with pretty large side glass, and view out of the back is pretty good as well, although you do have the headrest that kind of get in the way a little bit, but overall still good visibility. Alrighty, so let's turn out onto the straight road here first and see how it does. We're in manual mode, here we go. Alright! SQ5 has this 3-liter turbo V6 engine that does 354 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds. It sounds really good too. I really like it. It's not super loud or anything, but it does sound really great. But man, when that turbo kicks in, it really kicks in. I mean, you can feel the front end lift up, and it really takes off and feels fun. All right, so going around a few corners here now, and I have it in dynamic mode for the suspension, and it feels really great. It's really flat and planted, but again, still very smooth. It still retains the comfortable character. It's never, you know, race car stiff or anything like that, and just feels really great to cruise down the road in here. The only thing I can complain about is in dynamic modes, even still, that's, you know, the sportiest of modes, the throttle response is just way too slack, and I have to push down the pedal at least a third of the way before it really actually starts giving me more gas. And I wish that it was, you know, right at the top of the pedal there, instead of, you know, really having to lean into it in order to, you know, get it to go. So you definitely can't have a delicate throttle pedal here with this. You know, you got to just put your right foot down, be aggressive with it, and it'll go. But you know, it doesn't take any light inputs. You got to be heavy-handed with all your inputs as far as the throttle goes. Brakes feel great as well. You know, again, a good amount of travel there before it really starts to bite down for you. You know, but this thing is fun though. It really is pretty. It feels quicker. It feels. I think that torque really helps with that turbo. It kicks in, so that mid-range is really strong. And in the higher RPMs, it has pretty good pull as well. Although it does feel like it dies off a little bit towards the top. But you know, especially when you're just, you know, daily driving circumstances, when you're in between, you know, 1500 and, you know, 3000 RPMs, it really feels punchy. And, you know, right at $3,000, it really likes to take off still. And so yeah, steering weight is also pretty good. Again, in dynamic mode here, it's not super heavy, it doesn't feel super sporty, but it is a good weight. It doesn't feel too light or you know, easy to flick around. It's got a substantial weight to it and does feel pretty good. Another thing to note is the ride here in the SQ5. Now, these aren't the smoothest of roads, and you do hear a little bit of road noise, but it is fairly refined. Again, you know, it's very typical of Audi standards here, and you know what you expect out of this segment, this price category. You know, these start around $53,000 and go up, you know, into the 60s, and I think they can even reach 70 if you put enough options on them and stuff. This one is in the high 60,000 range, and you know, for that price, it's a pretty good value. I mean, you have really all the toys you can want here. Now, this one doesn't have ventilated seats or anything like that, but does have the heated seats. The Bang & Olufsen system this one does have. This is the Prestige trim, and the Bang & Olufsen sound system is spectacular, especially whenever you have your phone wired in, you know, with CarPlay or Android Auto there. It is really a powerful sound system. A little bit sharp sometimes, you know, not the softest of sounding systems, but really powerful. And I mean, I only had it up like halfway and it was like loud. So I mean, it's a very powerful system here. I think it's like 1100 watts or so. So it's a, you know, a really great sounding stereo. And so this thing, it really does it all. Like I said, it's still very comfortable. It keeps that a priority, so that, you know, it's never too harsh or anything. But it does give you really great handling performance. Again, for an SUV, it's very flat, doesn't drive like an SUV really, just it drives like a large, you know, hatchback or sedan, honestly. And I gotta say, this thing does a really good job here with the manual shifts. I mean, it's, like I said, it's almost as fast as dual clutch, but you know, even the downshifts, that's usually the part where automatics are a little slower, and this is still very responsive with giving me the downshifts immediately whenever I pull a paddle there. Again, it's not PDK quick or anything, but it's close, and very impressive for this 8-speed. But yeah, on an awesome back road like this one, this thing is a ton of fun, but whenever, you know, you want to just be in a comfortable daily driver, it does that very well too. So a very cool double-sided vehicle in that regard. It seems to do everything really well. And so yeah, I'm really impressed with the SQ5. But anyway, huge thanks once again to Audi for providing me with this very nice SQ5 to review for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts about the SQ5 in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.